Hi, Christine. Thank you so much for being here for our first interview on YouTube, Instagram, all the places we put up videos these days.
I'm so honored to be here with you. I'm delighted.
Oh, we're delighted to have you. So, the Annex Theatre, you're here. Oh my God. But first, who are you?
Oh, tell me. I wish I knew.
Okay, so you are Christine Deavel.
Yes, that's correct.
I got it right?
You did get it right, and I know it's one of the hardest names. It's been a problem all my life. Yes.
Oh.
Yes, Christine Deavel, Evil Deavel, you name it. Yes. So, but
I'm sure none of that was based on your personality, right?
No, not. It was just too delicious to play with.
Well, you are been so fabulous this whole process, and I want to start with this question, which is, what brought you to Dickinson? And like, how did her poetry spit out into the story?
Yeah, I will say it's been a long and winding road is actually accurate. As I think I said in my pitch, which was really an educational process for me here. I really didn't know what I was doing when I started out. And I think probably a lot of art, it starts out and you don't know what the hell you're doing. So I just know that Dickinson has always been a part of my life, probably as soon as I came upon my first Dickinson poem. I wrote my own first poem at 5, so poetry's always been, I don't know why. Who can explain it?
How did you get into poetry at 5?
I'm
going off script on that, but I'm very curious.
Isn't that wild? I think partially because my parents read to me. I'm a huge Winnie the Pooh fan.
Love.
And I so recommend reading it as an adult. It holds up. It's so good. But there's poetry in Winnie, a lot. And I think I was just drawn to it. And both my parents love poetry. So it just, I don't know why. I think, the power of poetry so much is in rhythm and, movement in the body. And Dickinson certainly has that, but boy, did she play with it. I still consider her an avant-garde poet. That's one of the things that drew me to what I'm saying, be in conversation with her work. I think art talks to art. We're all influenced. We don't even know how we're influenced a lot. But I had become, over the years, kind of frustrated and sad a bit that the focus is almost solely on her biography. Her notion of eccentricity, the little white dress, her making bread, all these, never going out of the house, some of those things which weren't true. When the work itself is so wild and dangerous in a good way, and transporting. And I thought, I feel like sometimes people look at the biography in a way of going around the poems.
People really get lost in the artist more than the art.
Yes, that's exactly it. And I know she's not the only one to suffer from that, but it feels like, to say it gently, a missed opportunity. And I also want people to feel braver about poetry. So my partner, J.W. Marshall, and I started a poetry-only bookstore in Seattle in 1995 after running a general bookstore for some years. And part of our mission was to make people less afraid of poetry.
I love that.
Yeah, and to so many people, I feel so sad because I think every kid starts out loving poetry. I don't know how you can not. And then somehow we get to the point where we think there's only one right way to read it. There's only one right way to experience it, which is...
Yeah, we all think of that archetype of like the person who likes poetry.
But we all do, if given the chance. I mean, you only need to look at rap, what else, right? Song lyrics. I mean, it's in us in a deeply human and humane way. And I wanted her work to be as part of that gift to humanity as all the other stuff is as well. So I just set about and said to myself, I want to make something, and I wasn't sure what. I want to make something in which the power of that art, what it's meant to me, is shown, not told.
Oh, I love that. I keep saying I love that, but everything you say, I love it.
Well, that's always nice to hear. I'm so grateful.
Working with you has been so amazing this whole process. I've been in awe. And you talking about like you starting your bookstore, turning into poetry store. How did that transition into being a playwright? Like, what was that process?
Which is kind of wacky, and not wacky. Everything has felt organic to me. I noticed in the poetry that I was writing that I felt the most engaged in had dialogue. And I just, what if I could move those people around? And so I took some dialogue and I wrote a stage direction. And I know there's always questions about stage directions, but to be able to have things, have color and movement and, to really live in the world with the art, I just think that's the consummate form. And I have almost always thrown a song or two in everything I've written.
Are we talking like Beatles or
no, my own.
Your own songs?
Yeah.
Oh, I haven't heard any of that yet.
Yeah. Well, and so both my parents were musicians. So my father is still alive. He is 96. He turned 96 on February 15th. My mother died when she was 68, quite a while ago, in 1998. But both of them were consummate pianists, and my dad taught music for a long. So I grew up with music. I can sort of read it. So for one play, my partner John and I wrote, I wanted a character to sing a song. I just loved having people sing songs. They don't need to be skilled. In fact, I kind of like it if they're not, because much like poetry, I think we can all sing. I mean, we can find a way. So I wrote the lyrics, which is, poetry, and then I just plunk something out on the computer because I don't have a piano. And so in this play, I knew I wanted people to sing. I'm trying to think if I wrote any. I think it's all Dickinson this time. And then I'll tell you the truth, I thought I would just plunk something out, or God forbid, I actually thought this, that the actors would just make something up. So mean. I know.
No.
I just wasn't thinking that through. But then to have Max compose.
Max being our music director for the show.
Your music director. Yeah, the music director. I wasn't expecting that, and everything he has said about this has just kind of blown my mind. So a lot of the whole I'm wandering off east here, but so much of this project has felt like kismet to me, has felt like it was meant to be.
I love it. I keep saying that, but my God, I mean, you're talking about how like you're brought to the poetry and like how the music has kind of come out of that. But like, I am curious how the poetry and the feelings and I guess the music of it you want to convey to the actual audience here. Like, since you put an audience in front of these poems, I'm curious, how do you want them to feel?
I know. And if I could say anything, if I could greet absolutely every person, which don't worry, people, I will not be doing. I would say, don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. In particular, thinking about the poetry, because it's going to wash over you. It's going to wash. You're not going to catch every word. You're not going to understand every line because some of them are really odd. But I think you cannot hear it and not go, oh, she knows. She knows. And from the minute, I mean, Dickinson was the master of the domestic and the small, the flower, the bird, but also the infinite. You're going to see the word eternity a number of times. And she so was not afraid to go into darkness. And this play does go into darkness. I mean, that's another thing I'd say, don't be afraid of the darkness, because you got to go there. I think that's the other thing I hope that the poetry and the play itself says. We cannot avoid sadness. We cannot avoid grief. If you're human, you're born to it, right? And sometimes you have to go down. You have to go down in order to be your full self. You have to see all of it, or you haven't really lived.
Oh, damn. I mean, this play centers grief. That is, from the start to the end, it is the threads, it is the space between the threads. And how did grief evolve as a theme through the writing of it and the staging of it, since you've really been involved, I've been impressed by how committed you've been.
Yeah, I will say about that, I very much am so grateful that I've been welcomed in this way, because part of what I wanted to do was to fully see this kind of collaboration. It's a gift to be able to do that. It really, really is. I'm learning so much from everyone. I just think theater making is magical. It sure as hell isn't easy, but I want to learn as much as I can from all of you amazingly skilled people. The grief side of it from the play came about, again, also organically. So in preparation for whatever it was I was going to do, I read all of Dickinson's poems twice. So that's about 1,800 poems. And then from there, I tried to just narrow it to some things that were really speaking to me. I don't know why they were speaking to me. So I was feeling my way through everything. And then you don't see in this play a lot of what I did write, because that tack didn't work for me. I went through here, that I've worked and worked and worked, and then what? It feels that I'm not connected. And I need to feel honest. I need to feel like I'm taking risks when I write, no matter what. And so while I was ruminating, after I'd read all the poems that many times, I pulled out a box that had my mother's scrapbook in it. So it got me thinking about my mother again. And that was a very difficult loss for me, really, really hard. And she and I were very close. The death was unexpected. And I thought, I've written poems out of that experience, but I thought, this is what Dickinson has done for me. These poems, it continues to do for me. Shows me a path, not an easy path. And I thought, you know what? That's probably among the riskiest things I could do, because I'm going to be looking at my own grief and being kind of personal about it. Though, things have changed. But there are some very personal things in it, for sure, that echo for me. Yeah.
I have been curious through this whole process about how much you had instilled about your personal experience with grief, and it sounds like quite a bit.
I did.
Oh, like there's elements you just expressed that you pulled almost directly. Then it sounds like, without spoiling too much.
No. Yeah, I know. I don't want to spoil it, but yeah, a lot of it is. It's set in a particular time period, but I can say once people get here, this also is a play with magical realism in it. As the description says, there is a Greek chorus, a 2-person Greek chorus. I did not have a Greek chorus.
You
when
didn't?
I,
No,
no, I
no.
know.
There weren't people just walking
Rocking
around.
around with me
Yeah, okay.
and helping me that way. I mean, I suppose in a way, maybe they were, because I my other hope for the audience truly is that they'll see the that there probably is a Greek chorus walking around with them. I very much believe in mystery. I very much believe we can't see everything. We can't know everything. We can't hear everything. But we could be a lot more open to what is there. And that maybe, even if you think of it as a metaphor, what's happening in this play, it fits. It fits with your own life. Yeah, yeah, if that makes sense.
I mean, not to make this about me, but you know that this got kind of personal for me.
I know. I did think about that. Yeah.
Really appreciated being able to, like, you helped me kind of frame my thinking and through that loss. So
I'm very touched by that.
yeah. So you have no idea how much I appreciate you being with us and being part of that moment in my life.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Very moved by that.
You know, and a representative for Annex, I am curious, get to our last question, kind of walk us out of that,
All
if it's
right.
okay.
Yes, I know. See, things get better. Things get better. They do.
You know, like, we've loved having you, and we're not done yet, but why Annex? Like, how has working with us been?
Well, I can tell you, I can't imagine going anywhere else. I have seen a number of shows here, but both. It's so great to have them streaming when I can't attend. That's been so sweet to be able to go back and watch things. But I don't have your mission statement memorized, but I saw the words risk, and embracing living playwrights. Folks in the community around you, and I thought, oh my God, that's so rare. And I always say I like scrappy theater too.
We're scrappy.
I know, but that's where some of the most interesting stuff happens. I really think, when you have to really scrounge a little bit, because then you ask more of your audience, and you have to participate. And I think that brings us together more. And I just love how embracing everybody's been. Right away. I kept this play in a drawer for a while. And I wasn't sure I really thought no one would see it. So not only did I, with some encouragement from my partner, did I go ahead and put it, but the pitch was so great for me. I can't tell you, even if it had not gone farther than the pitch, and I know you have pitch time coming up.
Yeah.
I highly recommend people participate in that. Even if you end up not being selected, you will learn so much about your work. And the process that I had with all the folks who talked to me about it was just really lovely and illuminating about art and theater making and what we all want from it. And then that you all were willing to take it on. And as I had said to people when I would talk about this play, I'd say, oh, not much happens in it. Really, it's very simple. And then like one of the actors, and I can't remember who else, said, they just laughed and said, you're kidding. This is a very full play. There's a lot going on. And now I know. And you all have risen to every challenge. I mean, it's been beautiful to see and very, very moving. Yeah.
Well, I am so happy that we are able to get it on our stage. I wasn't here for the last year's pitch session, so I'm not part of the decision that brought you here, but I'm so happy that last year they were took a chance on this, and it has been amazing to watch and be able to come in and be part of it. And thank you so much for being the first person to do this little interview thing idea I had. And
thank you.
I can't wait to be in the audience watching as we get a walk with Beryl. Oh, we didn't talk about the characters at all.
No.
Oh no.
Oh Oh, they'll just have to come and see.
I guess so. Well, they've an amazing cast, amazing
It
characters.
is. Thank you so much,
Thank
Justin. This
you.
was a delight.
Yeah, you are so amazing, Christine.
Oh, you are too.